this is the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. So it's Great Ace Attorney 1 and Great Ace Attorney 2 brought to the West as one Switch game. Right, so 22nd of November, 1138. Supreme Court of Judicature, Defendant's Antechamber, number 5. Excellent work, Rinnosuke. That was superb. Power was in my mouth the entire time. It's almost unbelievable. Looking at you in there. Drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. It was a grim sight, but before I knew it, you'd started finding inconsistencies in the testimonies. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer. Forget it. It's terrifying. I get through this. I don't think I ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again. Anyway, it looks like we've exposed your phantom lady at last. Miss 𝓔𝓁𝓸𝓼, student from Great Britain, is she? That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There's a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along. Yes, haven't you? I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are one thing I'm sure of. Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentleman. Thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Did you see what happened with that? No, I didn't see any of it. I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself. Then on the floor, next to Dr. Wilson's table, I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor. Just after I bent down and picked it up. I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot had come from. The waiter ran over to me, looking as white as a sheet. He bundled me into some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. As thinking by the detective, he apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay. Yes, and because I was shut in the pantry, I had no idea what happened outside in the dining area. Ah, there you are. Well done, both of you. Okay, it's this guy. Professor Mikotoba. Well, it seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say. Yes, it seems you planned this from the start. You arranged things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial. Our modern country is still in its infancy, our justice system even more so. Which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being cancelled. Well, it makes no difference. Lawyer or otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life, I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway. What? What are you saying, 𝓔𝓸𝓼? So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way. 𝓔𝓸𝓼. Well then, it looks like it all comes down to you, young man. To me? Yes. You need to prove your innocence, and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case. To think of it, he said something earlier this morning, didn't he? If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim? Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was a visiting professor at UMA, and it was I who invited him. Oh, see. Didn't know that before. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. Let's not forget who we're going up against. The gentleman whose involvement our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. But I've no doubt you pair will put up a good fight, right to the last. Best of luck. Thank you. Now then. I need you to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I think we may need.
Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-sama.
Sama? Oh, well, I guess that is, it's a bit strong, but I guess for the time period it works. 𝓔𝓷𝓼-𝓷𝓼. Court recess is over. Please make your way back into the courtroom at once. It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's get in there and deal a decisive blow, before those old fossils know what's hit them. Oh, Kazuma. What? Thank you. Really. What for? Well, if you hadn't said you believed in me, then I'm fairly sure I've already been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer, and as a friend. Coming from you, that means a lot. I'm found guilty in this trial. He's really going to give up on his dream of studying abroad. He's the kind of true friend he is. So, this isn't just my battle anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. Alright then. I'll save the thank yous for after the trial. You can treat me to one of those sukiyaki meals I like from the Yume cafeteria on University Street. With an extra large portion, of course. The court hereby resumes the trial of Rinnosuke Naruhodo. Prosecutor Aoshi, have you managed to don't think I've... hold on. Subpoena. Prosecutor Aoshi, have you managed to subpoena the witness?
Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government.
Sorry.
Let the government scrutinize. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about. It's highly unlikely that good relations we forge with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. Will you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down and our nation founders?
Again, terribly sorry.
If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. You really had nothing to worry about, Rinnosuke.
What do you mean?
A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses. Is this what our nation's justice system is? This is the Supreme Court. Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England?
Shut up! Shut up, you jumped up rookie boy. You and your friend know nothing. Nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in. By aligning ourselves with this great world power, we will become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures.
I won't deny that I'm no expert. I'm just a student, and one who arguably could study harder too. But standing here right now in our Supreme Court, there's one thing that I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all. What said Ryunosuke, despite the wide-eyed look of terror?
You little brat.
Thank you, Counsel. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system, and it exists solely for the pursuance of truth. With that in mind, this trial will now resume with the next witness taking the stand. The visiting student from Great Britain, Miss 𝓔𝓷𝓼.
Yes. Your Excellency. Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan, and from such a distant land.
Tea, someone bring the English tea. In England, no discussions can take place without tea. Is that true? No idea.
So, could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court?
Oh, of course. My name is 𝓒𝓸𝓼. I've been working undercover as the head waiter at the but my true...
Yes, we all know about you already.
Inspector Hosanaka, where are your manners? In England, it's always ladies first. Is that true? No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are one thing you're sure of. Oh, yes, I think I did, didn't I? Yet your description for this amazing sight was simply a woman. Sorry, Ryunosuke, but powers of observation aside, your powers of description are sorely lacking. Guilty.
So, dear lady, once again, if we may trouble you for your name and occupation, please.
𝓵𝓚𝓸𝓼-𝓔𝓁𝓪𝓻𝓽は
I'm terribly sorry, my dear lady, but... What?
Omae wa mou shindeiru desu ka? Hodokete 𝓔𝓷𝓼 wa. The lady says her name is 𝓔𝓷𝓼. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student currently enrolled at Umeå University's medical faculty.
Oh my, what a rare treat to hear the dulcet tones of the delightful language of the British people. I'm afraid I don't understand a word you said, but it was as beautiful as a hummingbird's song.
As far as I can tell. The detective is translating her words faithfully enough. Yes, I agree. You'll obviously do fine in England, Cosimo. Her English doesn't rattle you at all, does it? Who are you? You've clearly been paying attention in your English classes, Ryunosuke.
court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett. 3 days ago, at a restaurant called 𝓒𝓻𝓸𝓼, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Is that correct?
𝓔𝓷𝓰𝓵𝓲𝓼. 日本語がわかります. She says, yes.
This could take some time.
Even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese. She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. She says that she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately. Interesting when you're the one who engineered her escape. I was just following special orders from the Bureau. Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes over this photographic print? Seeing as you were so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps? Apparently, it was a very frightening and sorrowful sight.
Do you mean to say...
Yes, it would appear that the lady did witness the crime. The very moment when the accused standing right there in this courtroom shot the victim in cold blood.
Order! Order in the court!
Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolutely conclusive witness statement. Well, it looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is.
Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify, if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described.
不思議だね、今の気持ち. 𝓔𝓷𝓰𝓵𝓲𝓼. I had arranged for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beef steak. 特別な季節の色が. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor and they got into a fierce argument. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. 初めて出会った時から予感に騒ぐ心のメロディー. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit.
This is a condemning testimony indeed.
No, I didn't have any kind of argument with the argument. Oh, woof. I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all.
Objection!
Quiet, you filthy wretch. Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard, and look at this snow-white angel. I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose words the court is going to believe.
Ugh. You're still making the same mistakes, Ryunosuke. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded to death. That's a lesson you need to learn. He's so annoying. Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took statements from this lady and the 2 witnesses who testified before and reported back to the Bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go. The testimony of the last 2 witnesses were completely worthless, however. Well, even so, on the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. As you can see, there's nowhere about her person where she could conceal a firearm. I don't think she could hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit if she wanted to.
Unless and until the precise location where the witness is to have hidden a weapon can be shown, this is moot. Mute.
There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. Those are the witness's own words on the matter. Ridiculous. If only I was allowed to lift up her dress, I could prove it. Don't think about doing anything rash, Ryunosuke. I didn't fire the gun, I picked it up. There must have been another gun there that day. You're right about that, which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, that's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we will need to pull her testimony apart. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Oh, yes, Your Excellency.
Yes!
After 2 p.m., in fact. It's really quite a late lunch, isn't it?
Objection!
You don't keep up with the latest fashions from Britain, do you? Late luncheons are on vogue. Isn't that right? No.
Ah! A decisive English no has quite a sting to it. Oh wait, if she says no in English, I should say it in Japanese, right? The gentlewoman is currently working in the victim's research laboratory, it seems, so it was apparently a daily occurrence that they would lunch together. But on the day in question, the victim had another appointment at the clinic first. Yes, which we can prove from the medical report card that was submitted as evidence earlier. That's right. Miss Brett and the victim went to lunch following the victim's treatment, which is why it was so late. Yes, that all makes perfect sense.
Such wonderful logic. What a shining example of English intelligence this fine gentlewoman is.
So you both arrived at the restaurant. What happened next? The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself a steak. Only a beef steak.
Yes!
He was unable to eat, you say. And that was because he just had a tooth removed at the clinic, right? That's right. You're supposed to actually check with the witness before answering. Was Miss Brett aware of that fact? It seems so, yes. She'd heard that the professor was to have some dental treatment. So that would mean that it was you who ate the steak pictured here. Is that right, Miss Brett? That's right, yes. The print you have there shows the table exactly as it was left after the horrifying events. Exactly as it was left?
Dear me, what a harrowing experience to have traveled to a distant land on the far side of the world and be embroiled in such a tragic incident. Have no fear, my dear lady. I swear I will crush the evil fiend that has subjected you to this terrible plight.
Chat, I just want to say, I'm not allowed to say what he is, because we're on Twitch right now, and Twitch has banned that word. But I want you to look deep into my eyes and know what I'm about to call this man in my head. You know what he is. It rhymes with white benight.
So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all?
That's right, other than some carbonated water. Just water? Yes, the professor was unable to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water. So it appears that the diners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each. They each raised a glass of carbonated water. What do you think, 𝓔𝓸𝓼, about the witness's last statement? That last statement of yours, Miss Brett, has profound bearing on this case.
Well, well, how fascinating. Do tell us what this profound bearing... What is this profound bearing,
The significance of the statement will soon become apparent when the time is right. The defense calls for the witness's last statement to be formally added to the testimony.
Well sidestepped, counsel.
Very well, Miss Brett. Kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your official testimony. Gladly, she said. That was brilliant, 𝓐𝓶𝓸. I'm gonna remember that one. Which one? The significance will become apparent when the time is right. I could really use that phrase. I'd hope there were some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience than that, 𝓔𝓸𝓼. I ordered a beefsteak for myself and the professor, and I said cheers over a glass of carbonated water.
Yes!
So both you and the professor drank this carbonated water, did you? Yes. Being the waiter, I poured the 2 glasses myself. I clearly remember doing so. Except you're actually a detective. And the beefsteak, that was for you, Miss Brett? The lady says she'd heard it was not customary to eat beef here until Japan opened its doors to the world. Yes, that's true. What a frightful place is the lady's opinion. And I've heard it's not customary to eat sashimi in Great Britain. Now that's frightful. Every country has its own cuisine. As long as the people have food to eat, what does it matter what it is? True. Come to think of it, first time I tried carbonated water, it was much more of a shock than the first time I tried beef. But anyway, back to this witness's statement. Somehow I feel there's something out of place in what she's saying. We need to pounce on even the slightest thing now, so you never know what might lead us to our goal. The goal of turning this trial around. Understood, 𝓐𝓶𝓸. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor, and they got into a fierce argument.
Yes!
I never got into an argument with the professor. All I did when I noticed him was go over to say hello. Please don't get angry with me. No, I wasn't directing that retort at you. It was meant for the lady next to you. But anyway, as I said, I did not argue with the professor. I'm afraid your words are in vain. Sorry? Miss Brett does not appear to speak Japanese.
Now no, of course not. Japanese is such a cumbersome language anyway. English is the future. We must all speak English.
I'm so sorry. I was reading it as it came up, but it's what's written there, okay?
Wonder if the prosecution will feel that way forever, or only in the presence of a beautiful woman,
I'm telling you, he's...
Oh, I can't say it, but you know what he is.
He's one of those.
Well, that beautiful woman is telling blatant lies with a completely straight face. I have to find something that will unravel her testimony, no matter how seemingly insignificant it may be. Anyway, it seems that after the argument, the accuser briefly returned to his own seat. Part ties in with what you said, doesn't it?
Yes, I had some coffee to drink.
The next time you got up after that
Was when I finished my coffee and stood up to leave.
Then not long after, the accuser took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes.
Yes!
Like I said, I did not shoot that gun.
And like I said, there's no point in repeating that assertion over and over.
Well, I wasn't expecting to be attacked by my own side.
Nevertheless, defendant, you can't deny that when the shot rang out in the restaurant, you had a gun in your hand.
Oh, yes, that's true. But all I did was pick up the gun I saw on the floor next to the professor as I was leaving the restaurant. In fact, yes, there was someone much closer to the victim than me at that time. I am a suspicious lady in the...
That will do, dirty, rotten scoundrel.
Dirty?
Your baseless accusations can very well cause an international incident, boy.
It seems to me that your accusation is just as baseless as ours.
What nonsense.
The lady is merely stating what she saw. And this is already an international incident as far as I'm concerned anyway. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit.
So she's maintaining that you got into an argument with the professor, at the end of which he shot you.
Which is an out-and-out, totally unfounded lie.
Still, her statement is very compelling. After all, she's an elegant, refined, young, and beautiful gentlewoman from Great Britain. In stark contrast to you, dressed from head to toe in a dull black school uniform.
I'm dressed exactly the same way as you are, except for the flapping red ribbons.
Well, anyway, this is our only chance to expose her testimony as the fiction that it is. We can't do that, the trial's over. Even you, with your thick skin, must be able to feel the murderous looks you're getting from around the room.
Only too well. I feel half dead already.
The fact that I can't see a single inconsistency in her testimony doesn't make me feel any better either. First thing to do is press her on any of her statements that seem even slightly off to you. Do that, and an opening will present itself. I promise you. I need to expose the true face of this exotic foreigner that's hiding behind the mask. That's what I should be aiming for this cross-examination.
Yes!
It's all very well saying that, but can you prove it?
Absolutely. I verified it personally.
You verified it?
Yes. Immediately after the incident, I checked to make sure the lady was not carrying a weapon. I distinctly remember her saying, "I'm not."
That's all you did? You just asked her?
Surely you carried out a physical search, Inspector. No.
Why on earth not?
The honorable English gentlewoman clearly stated she did not possess a weapon. There was obviously no need for further probing into the matter. Or there was no permission given for any further probing into the matter, perhaps? Think what you will. But if you're going to continue with this preposterous claim that the fine lady was concealing a firearm, the prosecution demands you support your assertion with facts. In other words, he wants evidence. Omoiga kasanarumade mattezu ni uyashi kedo sukite junjo. The lady wishes to point out, of course, that she wanted to stay and assist with the investigation, but she was in a hurry to give a presentation at the university, so she was compelled to leave. Not to mention the fact that your office had told you to get the woman out of there. Not get her out of there, I just urged her to leave. The lady would like to point out that she in no way meant to run away from the scene of the crime, which is why she is only too happy to cooperate and testify here in court today, of course. Unlike a certain student who refuses to admit when the game is up. You can at least have the courtesy to pay attention to me when I'm goading you.
It's time to check the court record here. Let's see. Carbonated water. There's only one glass here if they both ate. Wanted to make sure I remembered that right.
Yes!
It. Let me just confirm something, please. It's do with this photographic print. Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene. That it was exactly as it was left. That is correct, the lady says. Well, that is, it's odd. Very odd.
Hear me. What's odd is the defense's inability to express itself.
Yonosuke, what is it about the print that looks so odd to you? Well, obviously, it's the cheers.
The cheers?
Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true, there should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1. Oh! You're quite right, Counsel. There's only 1 glass pictured here.
Objection!
Are we supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over minutia? What possible difference does the presence or absence of a glass make on the case?
Objection!
Minutiae, you say? Could it be that the detective here removed a glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence? Of course not. I would never do something so reckless. But there should have been 2 glasses on the table. Or are you going to try and tell me that you can clink with only 1? You're quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table. Tobikomi Yuki ni sansei momonaku. Inspector, what did the lady say? It would seem that this was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table. What? It was also terrifying, everything that happened. I panicked and thought I should try to hide the fact that I'd been there at all, she's saying. Good gracious.
Sumimasen.
I love that the English is in cursive.
There, as I assured the court before, this is of no consequence at all.
Oh, please.
We must remember that this student had just murdered the lady's luncheon companion before her very eyes. Who could blame her for concealing a glass or two in a state of disarray?
That's absurd.
Oh, really? So we take it that you're going to accuse this vulnerable, young, and beautiful woman of mischief?
What? No, no, no. This can't be put down to mischief.
I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene.
思いが重なるまで待たずに悔しいけど好きって順序。
It would seem that she slipped it into a small handbag that she was carrying.
A handbag, you say?
Yes, Your Excellency, a small handheld pouch commonly carried by well-to-do women in England. So the beautiful lady has very graciously explained how and why she removed the glass from the scene now. However, the fact still remains that this glass absolutely has no bearing on the case. This student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning, but in the end, it comes to nothing. No more pretentious accusations. You've wasted enough time already.
Indeed, the lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed this glass. I think henceforth we can consider the matter to have no bearing on the case. Counsel for the defense, are you in agreement?
Well, I don't know, really. Of course not. We're not in agreement with that. If you want to pursue this matter further, you're going to need to show that it has some deeper significance.
Yes, you're right. So she took a glass away in her handbag. There's a deeper significance here. It's... Well, now she has a way to carry in the gun. It's the handbag. Wait, the lady put the glass in her handbag, you say?
Yes, do try to keep up. It's already been explained to the court that all English gentlewomen carry handbags for small items.
Let me see. A little while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag, in which it would be perfectly possible to conceal a gun. You're right.
Well done, partner. I had a feeling you'd pick up on that too. What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard? It's really very simple. The gunshot heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire that gun, we can deduce that there must have been another firearm at the scene. The true murder weapon, if you will. You can't seriously be suggesting...
Inspector Hosonaga.
Yes?
Did you or did you not search Miss Giselle Brett's handbag on the day of the murder?
No, sir, I did not.
As I thought. In other words, another gun, the one that was actually used to kill the professor, would have been hidden in Miss Brett's handbag.
No!
Order, order, order.
What is the meaning of this, Inspector?
The meaning of what, Prosecutor Ouchie?
Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag and show you the contents at the time? Thanks to your bungling incompetence, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations.
Brilliant work, partner.
Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask.
You think so, Kazuma? So is this what paternity court is like? Wait, no, I'm joking. Let's not talk about that.
Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly you have no faith in the police. As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting, simply because it was unnecessary.
Unnecessary in what way?
I ought to thank the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I had completely forgotten about. This photographic print. This print is of a photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. As you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag.
Well, I never. You can see right through to what's inside.
That's right. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are the height of fashion in London at the moment.
So the contents are clearly visible.
Exactly, so there was no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious.
Yeah.
As you can see, there's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilt here. Thank you for helping to prove that, Naruhodo-san.
What? Order. Order. Inspector Hosonaga, will you submit that print as evidence at once?
Certainly, Your Excellency.
I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness counsel. Oh, no. We need to check that. Let's see. There's that. Oh, not that. Yes. These. Is there like a back compartment? Oh, I can't really pick anything, can I? Or like chain. It's chain. Okay, the chain loops around. Doesn't look like there's. Or anywhere in the chair, like a cut in the chair to hide the gun in. Or what's that? Is that, that kind of, Among Us? It kind of looks like the astronaut twerking from Among Us. Oh, actually, well, okay, this is like a fisheye lens. Looks like a head. Birthmark? Alright, well, there isn't much in that picture. The court has now been shown considerable evidence. As the photographic print just submitted to the court record appears to have no further significance, I'm satisfied that there's no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling.
Indeed, and there's only one logical conclusion. That the pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime. No. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around, I'm in a worse situation than I was at the start. Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue. What? You mean this is it? I must say, you put up quite a fight for a rookie student, but the weak are meat while the strong eat. You are wasting your time. There's no way to defeat true justice. A fact that that you can chew on to your heart's content from the inside of your cell. This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime I didn't commit? And Kozuma, his dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Kozuma, what? Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around? You heard the judge. There's nothing about that last photograph the detective produced that we can contest, which means there's no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue.
Very well. I will now proceed immediately to the ruling.
It seems we will be able to report to the British government on time after all.
Smug little. 𝓔𝓷𝓼-𝓷𝓪, having considered all of the evidence placed before me, I hereby find you...
Wait, Your Excellency.
𝓔𝓷𝓼, I don't think you could rule on this case yet.
Objection!
His amateurness is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems that the trial is over, he gives his ruling. That is the most basic protocol of the courtroom.
Yes!
Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As the photographic print submitted appears to have no further significance, there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Now that means if there was a problem with the evidence, some significant detail I mean, then ruling on the case at this time would be out of the question.
Objection!
This is blatant straw clutching. Look at this photographic print. All it shows is the handbag the gentleman was carrying on the day in question. There can be no problem with this evidence.
You better know what you're doing, Rinnosuke. I understand your objection, Counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court's scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information from this handbag.
My thoughts exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes. I am desperate. This isn't a wheeze. Something about this photograph just doesn't seem right. I could put my finger on it.
Very well. I will grant the defense one final opportunity.
What?
But be warned that if I am unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Look at his beating stick. I'm gonna pound you good. Do I make myself clear? I will put this entire gavel up.
Yes, Your Excellency.
So take another look at the photographic print Inspector Hosonaga submitted before. You will identify for the court where, in this print, we see the significant detail to which you've alluded. I'm gonna go with the Amogus. Look at that Amogus.
Yes!
Look at this, here. It's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description.
Objection!
Dear me, I was pondering what piffle you'd come out with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist? Clearly that has nothing whatsoever to do with this magnificent lady's handbag.
Yes, that is a burn mark, you're right. Go on, Inspector. The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report.
What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? No possible way of knowing either.
The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark. It's Amogus. Amogus has always existed. However, as Prosecutor Ouchi points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, I cannot allow further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn. She's saying... Koibito wa kimite itai. Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem that Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the Dean and some other university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now.
Well, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm sure His Excellency was about to give his final ruling anyway.
What's your thinking on this, Ryunosuke? Do you believe this burn has something to do with the case? Probably. Alright, I was memeing about this, but this Amogus cow shape. Wait. Okay, right. No, wrong one. Oh, there goes the Amogus. Alright, we got this. To be honest, I'm not really sure. If I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging, and hope that I might uncover something useful. Yes, you're right. I am? If we can just link that burn to the case, if we can do that, we might be able to prise this shutting door back open.
Just give up counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that.
Indeed, I'm afraid that without evidence, I can't allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture. But if we had evidence... evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the victim's wrist to the case, then you would allow it. I would. Yes. To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face. Really? I have to find some link between that burn and the case. This is the moment of truth. It's time to find some evidence that proves what that burn really means. So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. What evidence? The evidence that demonstrates an inextricable connection between the victim's burn and this trial. Okay, that's nice.
Yes!
What's this, Counsel? Yet another print? Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at a scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at time are recorded forevermore.
You hurry up, Rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further would be quite inexcusable.
Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped amogus burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore. What? How?
Objection!
You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is it in this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn?
Amogus.
Yes!
The beef steak?
Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on. The plate?
Your Excellency, are you alright?
As you can see, there's an emblem on this plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of La Carnival. La Carnival. Ah. The emblem on the plate and the victim's burn are exactly the same shape. Yunosuke, you genius! You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
Objection! bad!
But even if that's the case, we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before, or the day before that. It most likely happened at some other unrelated time.
Well,
Objection!
yeah, it couldn't have done that because he just got a medical report and he only saw, like, there was no record of a burn on this thing. Medical report card. There's no burns. It's just healthy. Yeah, it's just the tooth thing, so nothing else. Okay, I did not expect this to take that long. Wait for me to do this at the climax. Yeah, it's only a doctor's office thing. Alright, well, time to leave then.
Sadly, Prosecutor Ouchie, the chances of that are extremely slim.
Thanks. Why?
The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector 𝓔𝓸𝓼? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly.
But...
I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it hasn't suffered very long ago. And although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. This was no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds.
It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then.
I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, and I've never heard anyone scream at all. As head waiter of 𝓒𝓻𝓸𝓼, I can testify that without hesitation.
But you're a detective, not a waiter!
Yes!
There you have it. Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burnt themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. And yet Inspector 𝓔𝓸𝓼 never heard the professor scream, not on that day or any before it.
That's right. And the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either.
What are you suggesting? Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day,
that would be beyond careless, I think, Counsel.
And the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antiques dealer, all of us would have without any question have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Ouchie?
Well, yes, I suppose.
So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I almost don't believe it. Junosuke, do you think...
So it's just the poisoning, then. Okay, so no one heard a gunshot, no one heard a scream. I mean, I'd say that the drinks were, well, the other guy's drink was poisoned, swapped, and she took the glass with her. And because this is like 19-something, they don't really understand the concept of poisoning in Japan. So maybe he was shot afterwards? But I'm really wondering how he got shot. Like, that's the part I don't know. I'm gonna guess poison.
I never dreamt we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson
No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible. Apart from one particular situation. Counsel, are you suggesting? Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead.
Already?
Dead? Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead.
That's madness.
Wait, but why? Hold on, wait. I just remembered something. He's not even supposed to be eating the steak. So I'm trying to hold on. Let me think of the order of events here. So he's already dead. She was the one eating the steak. And then the steak was switched over to be in front of him. Okay, as it stands now, her story was that she was eating the steak, and after he died and they turned around, they switched the table around, and she took the glass home. But, like, what really happened is he was dead before. They moved the steak plate over under him and slumped him over so it would look like he died. I don't know. I should just keep playing. But I think he was poisoned. And obviously, they just fabricated this as if the woman was never there to begin with. Order, 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 please. Counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot.
That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student, but clearly he has no grasp of the facts.
Objection!
No, Prosecutor Ouchie, it's you who has no grasp of the facts.
I beg your pardon?
As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard. It's highly unlikely that Miss Brett knows... It's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it. Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement.
But Your Excellency...
The justice system in our country may be at its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I am prepared to pass judgment. Thank you, Your Excellency. What was that smile? Hi. Mochiron. I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours.
Miss Brett, you speak Japanese?
Of course I do. I'm studying in your country after all. But then, why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now? My mother tongue. Ego is the most refined and elegant language in the world.
As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible. But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level. Oh, well, you're the epitome of a true English gentleman. We are truly honored by this lavish consideration you so graciously afford us.
I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson.
So we're finally going to hear her own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting, Ryunosuke. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway.
That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in Supreme Court's history. Thank you. Easy does it.
I hope that is the last time I'll have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tone. Oh, forgive me, I do hope I haven't insulted anyone. Not at all, not at all. It is a delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady. And it seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant. I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what happened here today. The Minister of Justice? May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen.
Huh? Thanks. Is that a prayer, then?
Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with the cross-examination for now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much.
I'm sure I don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear? Yes, Your Excellency. Then you may proceed with the cross-examination.
Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that.
Yes!
But his hands were on a searing hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. You can't have not noticed.
Do you think so? Let me ask you something.
Sorry?
Ever since I arrived in this courtroom, and even still now, the fly on those unsightly black trousers of yours has been wide open. You can't not have noticed, can you?
Huh? What? Oh, wait, how do you say fun in Japanese? Subarashi!
You hadn't realized. The dear lady is absolutely right. As your friend, you've embarrassed me as well as yourself, Ryunosuke.
Why didn't you tell me?
Dr. Wilson was a true English gentleman. He chose honorable silence over a vulgar scream. Can your tiny brains imagine such a thing?
Oh, yes, I think my tiny brain can.
Yes!
Well, I can't.
When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast.
Yes!
As you testified before, you were drinking carbonated water. Is that right?
Dr. Wilson was only permitted to drink water at that time, if you remember. Which explains why he ordered that drink. Correct, waiter?
Exactly as you say, sir. Although, whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered the steak to the table, I'm afraid I don't remember that.
So,
I have enough English to understand that at least, for the benefit of others in court. It means, bless you.
I think it means the exact opposite.
Sir. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no possible cause of death besides the gunshot.
Yes!
Yes, it's written here in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhage from ballistic trauma.
Hi.
Luckily for all of us, a little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us. And as there were no other signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death, it can only have been from the bullet from your gun that put an end to this innocent man's life.
It doesn't make any sense. The burn must have happened straight away, when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. Yes, that's true. If it had cooled even slightly, it wouldn't have been able to make a burn like that. And if the victim burnt his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen, then he must have already been dead at that point.
Objection!
And yet the fact is, the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Until you're able to show the court evidence to disprove that, this is a complete waste of time.
I concur. Prosecutor 𝓐𝓷𝓼 is right.
If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me.
Yes!
Without leaving a trace.
If someone is shot or strangled or stabbed or thrown from a height, however a person's life is taken, there are always telltale traces on the body.
Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Hosonaga?
As I've said, I always aim for a flawless investigation. There would be some physical traces with those causes of death, that's true. But maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't even work.
If, heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone exactly how you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it?
Oh no, perish the thought. Calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question? On my honor, I, 𝓒𝓻𝓸𝓼, will cut down any who dare cast such aspersions.
A way of killing someone that leaves no trace. We need some evidence to back us up here.
Yes, evidence. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway.
Yes!
Inferior? What do you mean by that?
In the lands of the great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once and that's the end of it. Isn't that so?
Quite right. 𝓒𝓸𝓼 is open for business as usual today, just like days after the incident. Exactly, which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction,
Wait.
vital evidence may be lost. Oh,
this mechanic. Okay, this mechanic was in Professor Layton versus Ace Attorney. I recommend playing it. You should play it. Go buy it now, or borrow it from a friend. Legally play it, please.
it doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try and preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can, you understand? Ah, killer blow! The lady's formidable as she is beautiful.
Amazing. He's actually admitting our police might be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Ouchie is finally starting to see sense.
I very much doubt that. Still, something about what Miss Brett just said. There's a moment before when something didn't seem quite right. What do you think, Ryunosuke?
I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up any new information.
Yes, as I suspected. She's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or the cross-examination will be over. But that would mean... I have to... Wait. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor.
Kazuma.
What, Ryunosuke?
There is one thing I noticed. Something that's been bothering me.
Bothering you? You mean about Miss Brett?
Actually, no.
About the person standing next to her, Inspector Hosonaga. The detective. Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant. If it might present an opening, maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time.
If you think so, but
this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective.
alright then.
I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose, once I press Miss Brett on her last statement again.
Yes!
But in this great country, you investigate once, and that's the end of it, isn't that so?
Oh wait, let me skip this. He's just being a I can't say that word, but you know what he's being. Alright, there we go.
Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity.
What do you mean?
When people actually are testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down.
You're right, look at him.
He's lost in his own thoughts. It's time to pursue the man and his train of thought.
Sorry? Pursue?
I'll explain how to do it now, Ryunosuke. It's all to do with the witness marker.
What marker?
At the moment we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person actually making the current statement. But by moving the marker left and right with the taunt buttons, you can turn your attention to the other people in the stand. While you're looking at the other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them with A. If you catch that person at just the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people on your stand, take a good look around.
Alright then, so first I should move the marker across with D-pad and focus on the detective. And pursue him with A. See what's on his mind.
Here we go.
Wait.
I am D-padding as hard as I can now. Okay, there we go.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Okay. What's the meaning of this? Yeah, I'm enjoying this game. All Might over here is coughing up blood. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his own thoughts. Deeply. It looked like you were thinking about something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say? If there's something you'd like to say, please, share it with the court.
Objection!
What is the meaning of this? It's the delightful English woman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over. Immediately.
Oh, is that how it works?
Absolutely not.
Hmm?
The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness.
Yes, not to mention the fact that he's intimately involved in the case. Inspector Hosonaga,
Yes?
do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett?
Well, yes. If you don't mind, I would like to speak. The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain, which is why I, Satoru Hosonaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless.
What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. A crime scene thief?
Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this, for example. Is that? This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it's lost all of its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it. One day, our police force will be among the best in the world. And the time is coming, I guarantee it.
I can't say that I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence. Miss Brett. Can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death?
Yes, it was that bottle.
What's that about?
She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question.
Very well. Counsel, you may resume the cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor. Yeah, there's a whole swan hat, which that swan is interestingly colored. Like, you know in cartoons when something's highlighted so you know a character's going to interact with it? I haven't seen the top of that hat, but I can't tell if that goose is alive. Like, Untitled Goose Game is in this game, maybe. Let me check this bottle first. Fed macaroon nets. The label's written in a foreign language that I don't recognize. You know what it says, Kazuma?
I think it's French. This must be very expensive water. Yes, but what does it say? That's what I was asking. Then go to France and ask. You could just say you don't know. So this carbonated water is the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had. It looks like there's a little left in the bottle, though it's just plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much, I'm absolutely parched. I'll just have a sip of this to keep me going. No, Ryunosuke, you can't do that. For one thing, that's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence. Oh, no, you're right. We don't know what might be inside, do we? You never cease to amaze me, Ryunosuke. In more ways than one. I wonder, could there be anything in this water? What's the matter? You've gone quiet all of a sudden. I think I might have just worked something out. An interesting possibility.
Alright, poisoning seems right, but let's see, is there anything like... Okay, nothing out of place. Okay.
Yes!
What's this? The bottle of water? Actually, there's one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison.
Poison?
On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? Order! 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 And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who could have possibly done it. 𝓔𝓷𝓼, it was you!
Objection!
This is outrageous, to suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence. You little rookie imbecile, have you considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we've only just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Have you even the vaguest inkling that your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty?
Objection!
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one's individual's guilt with respect to one crime.
What?
The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth.
Ah,
If I may,
I will silence you forever for this disgrace.
it is you who should be silent.
Of course. Dear lady.
Where did that come from? She just snapped. I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies.
I'm sorry, my lady, but to what are you referring?
I described your police force as inferior, but no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector, and whether or not it contained poison or not.
Of course.
You did?
Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it.
Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents.
And what did you find, Inspector?
I ordered tests for every toxin that's available in this country at present time. We could find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency.
What?
Are you sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by Chief Coroner himself.
No!
I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You've successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you.
Ah, but of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours.
Yes, chat, it's been this way the whole time.
I was so sure. This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned.
Thank you, counsel. I think that cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution have asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Brett.
Yeah. I'm just glad the matter is resolved.
Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present the court at this point?
Kazuma. I'm sorry, Rinnosuke. I have nothing more. Well, if you'll excuse me now, I must really be leaving.
Hold it!
Oh, shoot. Time for the water.
Please wait.
Isn't that...
What is the meaning of this?
Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency.
Susato Miko?
Judicial assistant to the defense.
Mikotoba?
In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package wrapped in a furoshiki cloth.
Ooh. We've got a cliffhanger. Alright then. Well, I think this is a good stopping point. Gotten 2 parts down, and next time it'll be part 3. I've got to voice 2 women, and I'm doing a poor job, but it's okay. I'll keep trying and I'll bring a lot more water next time. Thank you all for coming as always, and have a great night, everyone.